Just 1 second more. We will go live on YouTube as well.
Right.
We live now.
Is my screen visible to all? Am I audible to all?
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. The name is Daman, FBCI, FBCS, about 35 years in all, 16 years plus in resilience domains, multiple awards winner from BCI in the BCM domain. We have kept about 1 hour today for you all. I'll speak for some time, along with some interactive polls with you all. And then my colleague, Ed, who is going to be joining us from Japan, he will take over, and then he will present his views around organizational resilience and Kinjaroon. This is kind of innovative approach that Kinja has produced, and we have partnered with them. The topic is organizational resilience. Quickly about ourselves, continuity and resilience. Core in short, we ourselves are certified through ISO 22301, and we work in resilience domains, namely business continuity management, crisis management, IT disaster recovery, risk management, information security, cyber security, etc. And in these domains, we train, consult, assess, certify individuals as well as organizations. We also provide some advisory services in automation tools, PCM, IT disaster recovery, and mass communication. Also workplace recovery solutions and e-learning. Start with the first poll, which is in front of you. Is this your first introduction to organizational resilience? Launching the poll. I hope you have this in front of you. Please do respond now. You've got about 24 responses so far. I'll wait for a few more seconds before I share the results with you. And about 39% people saying yes, 61% people have known this term or this concept, or perhaps have worked also on this concept called organizational resilience. Thank you very much. It has been defined, organizational resilience has been defined as the ability of an organization to absorb and adapt in a changing environment, enable it to deliver its objectives, and to survive and prosper. In the past, we would have said business continuity management, doing the basic minimum, ensuring the continuity of the basic minimum, and expectations have been increasing. Demand today would be to look for opportunities out of risks and crises and disasters, and emerging stronger, not just doing the basic minimum, not just ensuring the continuity of the basic minimum, but if possible, emerging stronger out of the crises or disasters. More resilient organizations can anticipate, so that's being proactive rather than reactive. and respond to threats and opportunities arising from sudden or gradual changes in their internal and external context. So a little later, we'll spend some time on discussing internal and external context as well. How does it help? Why should we do this? Why should we implement? Why should we spend any time, money, or effort in building up organization's resilience or resilience in the organization? 3 points shown here. It helps to improve ability to anticipate and address risks and vulnerabilities. Also helps to increase coordination and integration of management disciplines. And the moment we say coordination and integration, a little later we will see that it's not one BCM that most of us said in the past. It is not about fifth, sixth that many of us would have seen in BCI's good practice guideline. I'm not giving the number yet. That's a little secret for few slides coming up. There are many disciplines or management systems to improve coherence and performance. So ultimately, looking at the increased performance, enhanced performance of the organization, it is directly linked to the objectives. And in most organizations, if not all organizations, where the organization is a commercial organization, as simple as that, the business of business is making money. Leaving aside not-for-profit organizations, while even they need to work as commercial organizations and generate, if not profits, then at least to survive the basic minimum amount that they need to. And the third point says greater understanding of interested parties. So we'll spend some time on interested parties as we go forward. And dependencies that support strategic goals and objectives. As I said, I'm repeating, organizational resilience is directly linked with the objectives. If the goal is making $1 billion, organizational resilience is going to help us to move into that direction. With this, I'd like to launch second poll, asking this question: is BCM related to organizational resilience? What is your view currently? Question in front of you, I believe. So if you can respond quickly. Few more seconds. Good if more people can respond. That makes it a healthy analysis, which we'll be sharing with you at the end of the webinar with the recording, most likely tomorrow. And this is how you have responded. 92 people saying it is first interaction with organizational resilience, which makes us happy that we brought this topic to you. Thank you very much. 8% people perhaps had worked on this or had understood this concept or the term earlier as well. Moving on, third question, and here you can select multiple options also. Which of the following are, according to you, related to organizational resilience? Question in front of you. I request you all to pick your choices, please. Which of the following are related to organizational resilience? This is interesting, but good to have more responses. Only 12 responses so far. And that's why it is important for more people to participate, because initially the view was completely different, and as more responses come in, the output is changing. I'll give a few more seconds. The results are interesting. 90% people saying crisis management is part of organizational resilience. Same for risk management. But legal compliance and audit reduces to 75%. Supply chain management goes further down, 68%. Facilities management becomes 60%. And if I go down, the least it seems is 58% about financial control management. Interesting responses. We'll touch upon these as we go. This is one view from International Consortium of Organizational Resilience. HUT is, if we say this is organization resiliency framework, it's made of business continuity management, relatively easy to understand, crisis management and communications, relatively easy to understand, goes to technical infrastructure, emergency management, facilities management, legal compliance and audit. If you would recollect from the results from the last poll, there was little low response on this legal compliance and audit portion. Organizational behavior as well. Risk management and insurance. Risk management was about 90%. Social resilience was not in the options given by me. And supply chain, logistics, and transportation. We see from 1 BCM that most of us would have thought in the past, from 6, 7, 8 in BCI's JPG book, we see about 8 in this framework from International Consortium of Organizational Resilience. In short, they call themselves ICOR. If you wouldn't know, there is a standard called ISO 22316. Current version is 2017, which is about organizational resilience. And this is how it looks like. Security and resilience, full name is Security and Resilience, Organizational Resilience, Principles and Attributes. For some of you, if you do not know this already, there are 2 types of standards in the world. Specifications or requirements, which are certifiable standards. ISO 22301, for example, is that type of standard. Starting from 9001, 14001, 27001, all these are certifiable standards, either the specifications or the requirements. The second type of standards are called guidelines, or this one says principles and attributes. These can be used, are usable, but these are not certifiable standards. Just for information, I wanted to touch upon that. According to this standard, then, components of organizational resilience, it's a result of interaction of 3 entities or activities, or the standard is made of, ISO 22316 is made of attributes, activities, and contributions of multiple disciplines. 1 to 6 to 8 we have seen. Just fold your breaths, we'll talk of a little more. These are influenced by the way in which uncertainty is addressed. So in life, there is always uncertainty. And the moment we think of uncertainty, what comes to mind is risk management. What comes to mind is ISO 31000. So this is how we see 22316 and 22301 are close to each other. Decisions are made, and generally any management system in any organization, the top management will have to make many decisions. And why top management? Anyone, even the junior most person in the organization will have to make a decision even on day one of his or her life whether to join this organization or not. That's a decision to be made. The way decisions are made and enacted, and how people work together. The story is it's all about people. The building and the IT versions are very easy to do. Just switch off, switch on, have spare capacities, redundancies, but all this cannot be done with people. We cannot have switch on, switch off, switch on people. We cannot have half loaded or redundant people. Just keep paying them on. The day there will be a disaster, we'll ask them to work. Very difficult. I don't want to say impossible because nothing is impossible according to me. So it's all about people. We must understand human psychology and work according to that. Our objective is to make a resilient organization. A little later, I'll share my views on what I believe is a resilient organization or what factors make an organization resilient. So we need to work together, everyone in the organization, from the junior most to the senior most. And this is what I was saying, the multiple domains or management systems or disciplines that need to work together. According to the standard ISO 22316, which is for resilience, there are about 20 in the organization. Starting from asset management, this would be difficult to think. BCM is easy, crisis management is easy, cyber security also perhaps would think easily, communication management or crisis communication management, emergency management, environmental management perhaps wouldn't have thought to be in line with resilience or facilities management. Simply difficult to think about. Financial control management, if you would recollect in the poll, number 3 got very low scoring from all of you. And then they specifically mentioned fraud control management. Looking at the bottom side of the diagram, governance or corporate governance, health and safety, we can still think of close to organizational resilience or resilience if you want to say simply. Human resources management, I'm repeating, it's all about people. We must understand human psychology and work according to that. Information security, ICT management, physical security management, quality management, you wouldn't have thought easily to be close to resilience. Risk management is easy. It scored about 90% with you all also. Supply chain management was in ICOR diagram. And we perhaps would think it's out of my organization, but my organization is dependent on my supply chain. So that becomes very important. I need to be good. I need to implement BCM within my organization, but business is dependent on you, my vendor or supplier. Then even vendor and supplier needs to ensure continuity or being a resilient organization. And finally, the last block says strategic planning management. We wouldn't have thought that, and that's the point that the top management will be doing, which also tells us that there is a lot that needs to be done by the top management, which is true about any organization, any program, not only a resilience program, that the top management's commitment is most important. I've made a little change in this statement that we used to make in the past. Not the commitment of the top management, but the continued commitment of the top management is the success factor. It can make or break. It may be the difference between success and failure of any project or program in any organization. This is made of principles providing the foundation for enhancing an organization's resilience. Those principles then lead us to attributes that define the characteristics of an organization that allow the principles to be adopted. So we see a linkage from top to the middle layer. And when the moment we say the characteristics of the organization, that's where the internal and the external context comes into picture. Finally, leading to the activities guiding the utilization, evaluation, and enhancements of attributes. So principles to attributes to activities. This is how the standard ISO 22316 has been structured. This is a guidance. As I said, this is not a certifiable standard. To enhance organizational resilience, or OR in short, and it's applicable to all organizations of all type, whatever may be the size or type or complexity or industry sector. This standard can be applied or can be used by all and throughout the life of the organization. This is not one-time activity. Like VCM, organizational resilience also will be a program, continued program. Quick look at some of the terms used in this standard. Coordinated activities to direct and control an organization. This is not top management we are saying. This is what we are talking of, the activity management. Interested party, which is very interesting. In the past, we used to call it stakeholders. So simply, this is a replacement. But if you look at the definition, it makes a lot of difference and it makes it interesting. Person or organization that can be affected by, or perceive. This is very important. Perceive itself to be affected by a decision or activity. In the past, stakeholder, we would struggle to count beyond 7, 8 perhaps. Interested parties could be 20, and I'm not saying 20 number, 20 types. Many times people tell me when I do this discussion, oh, this was kind of an eye-opener. One interested party. There was never a stakeholder. We never thought was a stakeholder. Staff, employees of the organization, everyone will easily understand, will agree that was the interested party, stakeholder. What about the families? It's only when we understand interested parties, we understand the families are also interested parties. What about the competitors? We never thought the competitors were our stakeholders, but they are also interested parties. Third point, third definition or term that comes in the standard is organizational culture, which is defined as collective beliefs, values, attitudes, and behaviors of an organization that contribute to the unique social and psychological environment in which it operates. And values are beliefs an organization adheres to and the standards that it seeks to observe. So this point actually takes me to the beginning of the organization. The organizational resilience is going up to the mission, vision, values of the organization. It is directly linked with this. This diagram is from ISO 22313-2012 version, which helps us to understand interested parties. So quickly, if you look at, I said 20 stakeholders, we would have struggled beyond 7, 8 perhaps. Interested parties, 20 in these 3 columns. Middle column is all internal, left and right is external. But I'm saying these are 20 types only, not numbers. For example, competitors, you could have 2, 3, 10. Media, there could be 100 channels, newspapers, reporters today. And we think of citizens, then citizens of the country or citizens of the whole world. It could be 7 billion. Internal context, quickly starting from vision, mission, values. I'm repeating, organizational resilience is directly linked with the objectives or goals of the organization. That is a very strong point. Then governance, organizational structure, roles and accountabilities. I would like to say very important in any program is roles, responsibilities, and authorities. Then organization strategy, objectives and policies, different types of policies. Organization's culture, we just spent time on that. Beliefs, values, behaviors put together make culture of the organization. And standards, guidelines, and models that an organization plans to adopt or follow. Still continuing with internal context, capabilities, which includes capital, money, nothing comes free. Time, people, intellectual property, processes, systems, and technologies that we would be using. It may be hardware, it may be software, it may be application. Our relationships with internal stakeholders, so internal interested parties, contractual relationships and commitments we need to look at. Actually, not only contractual, but legal and regulatory requirements also, which perhaps takes us towards BCM and ISO 22301. Again, we saw a link quickly between 31,000 and 22316, and now we see a link between 22316 and 22301. And interdependencies and interconnections, data, information systems, and information flow. Quick look at external context also. Key drivers and trends affecting the objectives of the organization, which could be the industry sector, which could be national, which could be global also. Currently, the whole world going through COVID-19 pandemic, and one common challenge is economic downturn. Then external stakeholders, so external interested parties and relationships with them, perceptions, values, needs, and expectations. Once again, the moment we think of interested parties, needs, and expectations, we go towards ISO 22301 BCM, where there is a requirement to collect, be aware of these, and then be fulfilling these requirements and expectations of the interested parties. Then contractual relationships and commitments, complexity of networks and dependencies, and PESTEL, very important quickly. It stands for political, economical, social, technological, ethical, legal, and environmental. So PESTEL analysis many times used in the organizations, if not all components, then some of these components to take many decisions, which may be for investments also, or business expansions as well. With this, I would like to launch poll number 4, question in front of you. Which statement is correct with respect to the applicability of ISO 22316? May I have your responses, please? Only 50% people have responded so far, so I'll wait for some more time, requesting you all, because that makes a difference in outcome. This is how you have responded. Some people, 10%, saying it's only for global companies, which is not correct view. 2% saying it's for BFI sector, which is also not correct view. 2% also saying only for the government departments. Actually, it is for all, as we have understood. So the last one, none of the above, which most have responded, 63% responding, none of the above is correct, because 22316 standard for organizational resilience is applicable to all organizations of all type, whether in size or in complexity, whichever may be the sector, industry sector, all can use this standard. Communication plays a very important role, whichever program. I wanted to touch upon this also, and this is my cycle, communication cycle. Generally, again, going to 22301 is a requirement about communication. If you follow this cycle, you will be almost 99% conforming to the requirements of 22301 with respect to communication. Who communicates what, to whom, when, and how? Who in this cycle is the author of the communication? What is the content of the communication? Whom is your target, interested party, the audience? When can be time or frequency? I tend to go with frequency, whether the communication is going to be every minute, once in an hour, once in a day, once in a week, and how is the channel, your mode of communication. A requirement is to have a process, whatever you want to do, have a process for that. So I have developed about 8 steps. The moment you say process as an auditor, then I would like to say this is documented, not here, but on paper. So it is written, reviewed, approved, published, used. When you use a process, there should be some output. The result is published and is used. Over a period, that result needs to be reviewed and refined if required. And over a period, this process also needs to be reviewed and refined if required. And if you want to write a process document, about 12 steps to write that. Quickly, there has to be someone who would do it. There may be some discussions. We need to find out relevant interested parties. Point number 3 here. Someone would say the one, but I do not know. So there may be some training requirements. Create the document, get it reviewed, incorporate the changes, get it approved. Once it's approved, published. And then the published documents, the process needs to be used as well over a period to be reviewed and refined if required. Risk and learning play a very important role in organizational resilience. A resilient organization manages risks effectively, and a resilient organization is a learning organization. This is what I want to put. I'll close my discussion along with this definition, if you want to say, of a resilient organization, my definition. Culture we have touched upon, so I'm skipping this slide because I'm just looking at the time as well. I want to give time to my colleague, Ed, also, who has joined us from Japan. So thank you very much, Ed. Starting from data, always, and our intention will be to move into the direction of wisdom. In between, there will be 3 more steps: data getting into information, from information to knowledge, and to integration. This integration portion is very important. That's what we saw in 20 different disciplines or domains in the organization put together, work towards organizational resilience. We need some resources even for organizational resilience program, resources in terms of people, facilities. From ICs we say technology, which may be IT or ICT. These days we say information and communications technology. It becomes free, so we need money as well. Finance comes into picture, and information needs to be managed. What we say is ultimately, again linking this to 22301, performance evaluation, because nothing comes free in this world. Organizational resilience is not free. You are spending time, money, and effort. Then you need to be worried about the effectiveness. So PDCA cycle, if you want to say, a check portion, the effectiveness of our actions need to be looked into. Need to do that analysis on a regular basis. Just showing this, not speaking on this. This is kind of your homework. Think about it. These are the 17 goals, UN Sustainable Development Goals. Which of these, or if any one of these, are linked with organizational resilience also, or whether organizational resilience supports any of UN Sustainable Goals, Sustainable Development Goals also. That's a question for you. Closing my discussion with this diagram, resilience indicators. Many you see here. In the middle, you will see leadership and culture. So there's a lot to be done by management, the top management. Change is the only constant. We need to be working towards that. Shouldn't be worried, or we shouldn't shy away. We shouldn't be scared of the change. And networks and relationships. These networks are not the IT technology networks. These may be people as well, learning from each other. So quickly going to the outer circle, if you see, starting from leadership, situation awareness, we need to be keeping our eyes and ears, our antennas open. Antennas should be up. innovation and creativity, even in organizational resilience. I used to talk about this during BCM and expanding this to organizational resilience now. Proactive posture, being proactive rather than reactive. Stress testing plans, whatever plan we might have developed, testing is important. Planning strategies, including business strategies, not the business continuity strategies only. Unity of purpose, all 20 domains, if possible more also, and I'm going to be touching upon that soon. Breaking silos, again, all components of the organization working together in sync is very important. Leveraging knowledge from each other, learning and sharing internally as well as externally is very important. Resources, internal, external. Effective partnerships will be very important in being a resilient organization. Decision making, even a decision to attend this webinar, for example, is a decision in life or in organization. In staff engagement, nothing moves without people. And that gets linked with leadership. That's the leadership requirement or expectation work that leadership will be doing to keep all engaged on this program. People will ask me a question, so Daman, what is the way forward? And this is my view. Risk management, from risk management moving to governance, risk and compliance. Risk management perhaps 30, 40, 50 years old, older than that perhaps some people would say, so no debate around that. And about 10, 15 years ago, we would have moved, 20 years ago, we would have moved to governance, risk and compliance. GRC became the buzzword. To IRM, integrated risk management, in past few years, maybe a decade. But the way forward is organizational resilience. And this is my definition of a resilient organization. Risk managing, learning and continually improving organization is a resilient organization. I'm sorry. When I came across this standard ISO 22316, I liked it, appreciated it, and quickly we have developed a course, 2 days course, highly interactive. That's the USP of the course. About 50 exercises to be done. So actually, you dirty your hands. Fully 16 CPE credits, and certificate comes from FPO UK, our certification partner. And you get a complimentary organizational resilience assessment tool, which is worth roughly 500 USD. In this tool, then 24 domains. We saw 20. When I started developing this tool, I added 4 more. 3 parameters for each of these domains, which is intention of the organization, then implementation and effectiveness. So you score yourself on these 3 parameters within these 24 domains: intention, implementation, and effectiveness. Spider graph is drawn automatically for you. Tree map is drawn automatically for you. And what you get is a quick improvement areas are visible to you immediately. This is where, Ted, I would like to invite you next 15-20 minutes if you would like to take. And if you would like to stress upon how does Kinjaroon support organizational resilience. My view is, if I go back to my definition, I said risk management, learning and continually improving organization. So the continually improving portion, I believe, is supported by Kinjaroon very well, but that is the expert in that area. I request Ted to take over, please.
Okay, thank you very much, Daman. And don't worry, everyone, I won't share with you 50 different homework assignments. Daman, that was pretty demanding, but I'm sure with you, that is a great thing of continually learning. You have to learn, right? So with Kinja, I think the 2 main areas that we want to help with improvement. One is in pointing out one key hole in disaster recovery, and I'm going to talk about that. And the other thing that we would do is what we call dynamic organizational resilience. So it's not just good to be resilient at a point in time. You have to be dynamically up to date with that. And I'll show you a way that you can use our product Kinjaroon to do that. Just a little bit of background of Kinja. First of all, we have some major awards from groups like Gartner Group, and we have major customers like NTT, Mitsui, Randstad, UN, just to name a few that let us use their names. So the pain points for IT disaster recovery is, first of all, a single point of failure. Microsoft itself remains a world's largest target for hacking attacks and accessibility to data. So we have a solution that actually can address some of these things. And first, before I get into that, we have to think through what is the typical disaster recovery for something which is a Microsoft shop, which is a large part of large enterprise, right? It's got the dominant market share. So of course, you have the current system, which is your primary data center using, you got a data center, Windows servers, SharePoint, Microsoft SQL, and you have a complete secondary data backup center, which backs up everything. And so you say, hey, I'm great, I'm covered, right? Well, the issue here is that, no, you're really not covered, because what happens if SharePoint itself goes down? SharePoint is, in other words, SharePoint, the software could have bugs. What happens if Microsoft SQL has bugs? And with the complexity of software is increasing every year, software becomes your single point of failure, even more so than the hardware. So even though you replicated everything over to SharePoint, I'm not saying you might not have applied the patch to one SharePoint, and you didn't apply it therefore to probably both of your instances. So this is one of the key areas that people still don't have a good solution. And this is one area where we can, Kinja can be used, is that we have a completely redundant system. So it's, instead of a data center that's replicated, okay, you have a secondary data center that is actually not a single point of failure, but ours is completely separated in the cloud, AWS, Linux. Kinja is a comparable product to SharePoint and Microsoft Project. And then we have a different database as well. So that's one area that we can contribute. And again, it's a software-based solution that now you can think about your backup going in a different way. So there's another completely different way to think about this, though, is that if we think about organizational resilience, we want to think about a DR plan that adapts with different contingencies. So here I'm going to go, and this is actually our product. And right here, I'm just giving you a sample disaster recovery plan. This could be any sort of template that you want, but everyone knows that you've seen something like this, where you have a table of contents, plan overview, and then you have each section done there. Now, the problem that I have with documents, PDFs, and everyone uses them, is that the issue is that as soon as you've written it, it's out of date, because the world is changing around you continuously, and this is a static view of the world. So the minute you wrote it, it's going to be out of date. And so is there a better way to do planning templates instead of doing it in PDFs? And the answer is yes, there is a better way. And the better way here is that we can, instead of looking at this one static document, we can convert that document into a set of dynamic folders, if you will. And we call the folders rooms. So each of these blue tiles here is a room. And basically each of these rooms, if I go to this room on the plan overview, you can see now that we've gotten 1.1 plan updating, plan documentation storage. And not only that, but we put in the task, we put the task right here. We can have a comment right here, which is interactive. So unlike email, where you have your conversation threads are all very difficult to trace an audit on who said what when. We have a complete audit log, information activity. We have an audit log of who said what when on this room as well. And not only that, but we have a complete access control layer. So an ACL that says, okay, we can add people by group or by individual, and we can set individual owner rights. So you can have an editor or viewer. So it's a complete package where you can now have an interactive plan where we have tasks. And if I want to just see the tasks, I can go see here the tasks. And if I even want to see the tasks as the Gantt chart view, I can see it this way, and we can more dynamically look at the plan and see our dependencies right here. So this is the type of tool that we've developed from scratch, and the system works with the ecosystem that you have. So we have connectors to things like SharePoint, Google Drive, other solutions. So this is basically a way to try to make the next generation, so that instead of a template that is static, again, what we're going to do is we have now a dynamic document. So I just wanted to do it a pretty quick overview, just see if there's any questions on it. I know that it's running a little bit, a bit long on the conversation, but if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
If you have finished your discussion, then we will allow people to ask questions at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember when I was an executive at Vodafone, there was one executive that gave advice. They said, be three things. He said, be brief, be bright, and then be gone.
Good.
So I did this a pretty quick overview for you guys.
Thank you very much. And I'll come back with my slides once again. I hope it's visible.
Yeah.
So this helped us to understand link between Kinjaroon and organizational resilience. How does Kinjaroon support organizational resilience? Thanks once again, Clyde. Quickly, we wanted to give you an update of upcoming webinars on 25th. There is a webinar on IT disaster recovery. Again, that will be with us along with TK Ranjan Kajwadkar, and on 9th of December, Ted, and I will join Ted on 9th of December once again. The topic is operational risk management. So we hope you have already received those communications also. If not, please get in touch with us and we'll be happy to provide you the registration links. And all webinars are complimentary, and each webinar roughly 1 hour entitles you for one, typing mistake here, CPE credit. If anyone is write to us, and we'll be happy to write a mail back to you confirming CPE credit. Asking this question to the poll, please help us to understand, were these discussions useful? Which is poll number 5, launching now. We keep these free, also complimentary, but whatever Ted from Japan or we from India and UAE, wherever we sit at any point in time, do these activities, these sessions will not be successful without your active participation. So we look forward to your support today, as well as for the upcoming webinars and activities. So, thank you very much for you all 97% saying yes. 3%, if you didn't find, we'll be happy to know from you if you can write back to us the improvements that you look forward to in these discussions, and we'll be happy to incorporate. We want to be a resilient organization. So the definition, risk managing, learning, and continually improving. We want to do that ourselves for ourselves. Please do write to us if you have any points where you believe we can improve upon, we should improve upon. The last one, once again through a poll, looking for your responses, whether you would like to have information, more information about the 3 points that we have touched upon, or 2 points, right? More information about organizational resilience course, or more information about Kinjaroon. We are really happy to have partnered with Kinja on this activity. I've seen this at least 10 times so far through Ted and his team, and every time I find something new, which is fascinating to me, this approach or the platform that they have produced.
Okay.
Thanks for your responses once again, and we'll be in touch with you. We'll provide you information about these.
Daman, I think that somebody we should look at the Zoom group chat, just make sure.
Question.
Yeah, so I'm just going through some of these really quickly, but
That's what the point is.
okay.
Yes, please. All questions can be typed in now. We do have some time, at least 10 minutes we have. And I will be happy if you have more questions for Ted.
Yeah, just to answer one thing really quick. Software available for a limited period to download. We actually, because Kinja has a lot of different use cases, we really prefer to talk with you first, and then we can arrange a trial as needed with people as well.
Ted, there's another question that says, is there a way of integrating the dynamic data from various online databases such as HR database, etc., in the Kinjaroons?
Yes, well, one of the things we have a connector architecture with REST APIs, and so if we know which integrations you want to do, we can do integrations. It's of course sometimes it does require some custom work, but we realize that in an enterprise ecosystem, you have to integrate with your other things. So we've done that with many other large enterprise.
There's one question. Sorry. Yes, please. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
There's a question about healthcare. Any work on healthcare organizational resilience? I believe is what I said. I'm repeating the standard ISO 22316 is applicable, usable by all industries, all organizations. So the concepts are same, and I'll be happy to be in touch with you to take these discussions further. Another was, yes,
yeah, and
please.
I got a question from Kamal, which is the beneficial ratio from Google or Microsoft. It will really depend on the use case, how you actually use Kinja, like the DR example or BCP. So again, it's something we're happy to set up a meeting directly and with Daman as well.
So Kamal and Rishikesh, I'll get in touch with you guys offline, share more information about Kinjaroons, and then we'll take it up from there. Okay,
great.
Thanks. That's what actually Tarun, who is speaking, but not on video, his colleague, and he takes care of Kinja initiatives from our side. So he'll be in touch with you on Kinja. A question I see here is any research, compliance, or alignment done with the Bank of England paper on operational resilience? I admit that I have not come across this yet. Now I'll be happy to go through this. But in the course, other than the courseware, we're providing a lot of reading material, supporting material also. There are many papers, white papers, or research papers available, information available on organizational resilience, and we are sharing a lot in the course. Any more questions if you have? We'll be happy to answer. There's one for you from Kamal at the bottom, I see. How Kinja is beneficially ratio or percent?
I just answered that, Daman.
All right.
Yeah.
Very sorry.
And he has a suggestion, so Daman, maybe we can talk about that too.
Great.
So Sanskaran, about the career prospect, organizational resilience is a larger blanket. We can take this conversation offline with you and explain to you in greater detail.
Great. One more question coming up. During COVID, how OR can help? So I would like to then, if you want, go back to that slide, which was showing 20 domains. I hope you can still see my slide, my screen. And this is where I believe the answer lies here. COVID-19 pandemic was different. My view is that no one in the world was prepared for it. Even if we had 5, 10, 15 years of BCM journey, even if we had BCM plans, even if we were certified, no one was prepared for COVID-19 pandemic the way it happened. A pandemic would have impacted people, and the BC plan would have taken care of people unavailability. This time, people had been available, the buildings, offices got locked. And suddenly anyone and everyone started working from home. And that's what I was saying. Work from home is not the solution, is not the permanent solution. There are challenges along with that. And we have been doing discussions around that. I've developed a 15 pages document, my experiences, our experiences around COVID-19 pandemic. I believe organizational resilience supports it fully because it's not only one person. IT is very easy. Building because it was home, but then people who are happy, healthy. We were lucky. Most of us, we were lucky. But if you see there are 20 blocks here, and I said while developing the courseware, I had the tool for organizational resilience assessment. I added 4 more from my side. It's very, very close to managing COVID-19 pandemic. Truly speaking, any disaster, any crisis. So I hope that helped Kamal and others. Any other questions? I'm sure this is never ending and ever improving situation. I'm repeating, in the past we had 1 block BCM, 1 block risk management, 1 block crisis management separately. A little integration started, maybe 6, 7 from many of us would have seen BCI, GPG, about 7, 8 blocks got together, BCM being the coordinator. We see from 22,316 about 20. I ended up adding 4 more. Tomorrow there may be 2 more. Improvement is always possible. And that's what it's saying. Resilient organization is always improving, continually improving organization. Great, people, thank you. And I'm repeating, whatever we do, without your active participation, these activities will not be successful. So we thank you all a lot, and we request your continued participation in coming up activities as well. And if no more questions coming up, then Tarun, perhaps we can close the session. And you can write to us through info ID, info@continuityandresilience.com, or you can write to me directly, d.sood@continuityandresilience.com. A response is guaranteed. We'll be happy to respond to the best of our capabilities.
Thank you all. Have a great day ahead, and we'll catch up.
And if anyone wants to get in touch with me, it's ted@kenja.com. So I'll leave it in chat too.
Which I can type here if you want. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
In the end, may I request everyone to switch on the videos, please, cameras, please. We would like to take a picture and share with you, post in our on our LinkedIn pages as well. Everyone, if you want to switch on your cameras, please, with the great smiles.
I like this part.
Not many yet, please. The screen is not full yet. If you would like to switch on, I'm taking the picture now. If you want to smile to the best of your capabilities, that'll be great. And take actually one more. I will go to the page 2. Only 2 cameras on here. If you want to switch on cameras, I can wait for a few more seconds. We'll be happy to share with you all and on our LinkedIn pages as well. The whole world will know that you attended this session. Thank you very much. With this, then we can close. And now a few more. That's much better. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you again. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.